Happiness is so incredibly important, at least at my point of view. And I do really hope that some other people are actually also kind of thinking in my way, because I truly think that happiness is one of the things that is so important. I would actually say it's the most important thing. Like, if you think about it, and if you put yourself and your happiness into various situations and various kind of thoughts, then you're probably gonna see that, okay, without happiness, everything is quite fucked. Like, and if you're happy, then everything is good, no matter if you're rich or not, or if you have money or not, if you're working your dream job or not. Even though, you do just also have to say, okay, you're not gonna be happy if you do just, do something 8 hours a day that is incredibly fucked up. I think this is just going for happiness. I think it's just a pretty great path. I would really say, like, without happiness, and or if there is no happiness, you're definitely doing something wrong, and there's definitely something that you have to change up. So you somehow exclude by going for happiness a lot of things, a lot of some work that you might not be into, or some other things that you might not be into, but also by saying like, okay, but also in general a lot of things, like, I guess you would just eat more healthier, because if you're ill, I probably guess it's not making you happy. So therefore, if you're ill and if you're not like in good shape and you're feeling bad and sad and whatsoever, you're not happy. And therefore going for happiness also includes this. So I somehow feel like, going for happiness is just a pretty great way. And this is also actually the topic that we are going through today from an ideas Todd is a fucking name, .com article, which is called The 4 Lessons from the Longest Running Study on Happiness. And I do think it is actually very interesting, and I'm looking forward to this little study. And one of the best things about it is that this article isn't very long, which is great, because I do not want to read too much all the time. I think it's quite okay that I'm having one episode a day, when I'm making 2 of them, that is actually based on me reading something and or based on me going through something that's quite long. And therefore I also want to have something that is quite short so that I can just talk, which is actually something that I like. It just really reminds me of Gary Vee, because he said that he just really likes to hear himself talk. I don't know if it is the same case for me, and I don't know if it is actually only based on the language, because I do just like to use English, even though it's not my mother tongue, and I just like to talk in this language, even though I'm far from perfect. I don't know, I really don't, but what I know is that I just have to turn on the light, and I think this is just way, 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 way better. I hope, at least. I really, truly... Now it's broken. No, it's okay. I also hope that the audio is just fine. But I think I'll just go on with the article, actually start with the article. And this article, by the way, is from Daryl Chen, from April the 12th, 2017. And it is again from the We Humans section. So all these articles on the ideas.ted.com website are actually somehow categorized into certain topics, I would say. One of them is We Humans, another one is scientific stuff, and another one, again, is business stuff. And I don't know, the problem that I'm having with this website is that I actually can't find every single article. Like, I can't find anyone. There is not such a register or something like kind of a table of content where you do just see everything. But a trick is to just, go to one article that you enjoyed or that you will enjoy. Then you scroll all the way down. Then you can see a lot of other articles that are somehow correlated to this one article that you're on right now. And you can just click through those of them, which I'm actually showing right now. And for all the podcast listeners, I'm trying best to actually describe everything that I'm doing. It's actually based on WordPress. Oh. But so it's a little bit, sad and a little bit, badly, or, yeah, well, never mind. It's just something that's a little bit bothering me. It's a little bit like, okay, I don't want to see every fucking article because I assume and I totally know that there is so many great articles on this website. It's just amazing. But I'm gonna start reading. So essential data-derived advice for leading a happy, healthy life shared by researcher and psychiatrist Robert Waldinger. Have you ever wished you could fast forward your life so you could see if the decision you are making will lead to satisfaction and health in the future? In the world of scientific research, the closest you can get to that is by looking at the Harvard study of adult development, a study that has tracked the lives of 724 men for 70 fucking 8 years and one of the longest studies of adult life ever done. Investigators surveyed the group every 2 years about their physical and mental health, their professional lives, their friendship, their marriages, and also subjected them to periodic in-person interviews, medical exams, blood tests, and brain scans. Which is just amazing, I guess. And I'm just thinking, who is actually going to participate in this study? And I was also thinking, if I would do this, and I don't know, there just probably is an upside of it. Okay, you get free medical tests. This could actually be just one of the kind of reasons why people may be participating in such a study, or they're just kind of enjoying that they are helping an institute to actually get to some data that is very, very important, and it could help other people as well. So I don't know. It would be just very interesting. Maybe they have gotten money for it. Actually, this could also be the case, but I really don't know, and maybe I'll just look it up. Would actually be nice, it would actually be very interesting, because there definitely has to be something, because I don't know, and I don't think so that 724 men, and it is actually said that it is only men and not women, actually do something for free for such a long period of time, where they just somehow are restricting in some way their life, even though it's just one day maybe in every 2 years, but it's still okay, you're gonna have to plan this, you're gonna have to just see if everything in your calendar is somehow okay, and that if you're not in your holidays or something, on vacation. But yeah, let's move on. But I actually, by the way, think that the screen on the left side of the or the window actually on the left side of the screen is actually a little bit smaller. The problem that I have been facing today, which is actually something that kind of weirdly happened, is that I can somehow resize it even smaller. And the thing is, I don't actually think that this is the width that I'm actually using for all my videos. So therefore I've just made it a little bit wider, a little bit thicker, and I guess it's okay like this, as long as you can see me and the window, I guess it is okay, but I really don't know. So yeah, let's go ahead. So with a front row seat on these men's lives, researchers have been able to track the circumstances and choices and see how the effects ripple through their lives. Psychiatrist Robert J. Waldinger, the study's director and principal investigator, shared some of the major lessons in a popular TED Talk, which is called "What Makes a Good Life?" Lessons from the Longest Study on Happiness. He says, "We would be publishing journal articles with our findings for 75 years, but we publish in journals about lifespan developmental research that few people read. The government has invested millions of dollars in the research, so why keep it a secret?" Actually, a really great point. So why actually do you keep it a secret? And I don't know. I don't know if they have published it in another way as well, and not only through this article and also the TED Talk, because I kind of feel like, the TED Talk alone, for sure, it might have gotten just several million just views, but I don't know if this is actually the best way or the best only way to distribute such an incredibly important and valuable information with the people. I really don't. But I guess okay, a lot of things are free, especially on the internet, so you can just really spread the word quite everywhere. yeah, 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 maybe newspapers as well. But I kind of think like there has to be a fucking article, just somewhere, in a newspaper, on this certain study, because it is really fucking important. At least it's my point of view. I don't know how you're feeling about this, but I think it is just really interesting, and I still find it quite amazing that people are actually doing this. Like, fucking 78 years, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing lifespan. And also it's just quite personal, I would say. Like, you just have to tell those people what your marriage is like. Maybe you've been divorced quite recently, and they ask you like, well, yeah, it's not that kind of easy, I guess. They just, you know what? I can't really think about something else right now. But there has to be a fucking upside. They just have to get some. No, they just they just have to get some money for this, or they had to get some money for this. Actually, there is no other way around this. At least and free medical things, maybe even kind of drugs and so on. So like medicine. But yeah. So the big takeaways from that talk: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, and loneliness kills. Well, yeah. But there were, of course, many more lessons to be learned, and the study has yielded more than 100 published papers so far, with enough data for scores more, and Waldinger shares 4 of them here. So the study has yielded more than 100 published papers so far, with enough data for, quote-unquote, scores more. I don't know what they're saying with this. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think we'll just move on with the summary, I assume. I'm so fucking looking forward to this. Actually, it's just amazing. I do kind of feel like those articles from the ideastart.com website are actually incredibly nice. Not only are they written just incredibly good, as far as I can tell. Like, I'm just not a native speaker or something, and my English might not be particularly good, and also just my German is not particularly good. And I something that I find, like, people who can really understand structures in terms of text structures and sentence structures and all these things, I think they just they're really having it easy with every singular language. If they just know what's sounding good, or what's good writing, or what's written good. And I think it has to do with communication. Like, people that communicate good, I guess they can just write good texts, and or speak. I think it's really and or. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. But yeah. So a happy childhood has very, very long-lasting effects. Having warm relationships with parents in childhood was a good predictor you'll have warmer and more secure relationships with those closest to you when you are an adult. Happy childhoods had the power to extend across decades to predict more secure relationships that people had with their spouses in their 80s, as well as better physical health in adulthood all the way into old age. And it is not just parental bonds that matter. Having a close relationship with at least one sibling in childhood predicted which people were less likely to become depressed by age 50. And I think it's just amazing. But for me, it somehow makes sense, because at my point of view, and I've been speaking about this just in various kind of situations and in various kind of ways, I do really believe that we definitely, I guess, should not be alone. And I think we aren't meant to be alone. I think we, in general, are social animals. Like, we do just have to... And by the way, I think there is actually a book that's called Social Animal. And I've been encountering it so fucking often. But I don't know if, who's written it and something. But yeah, never mind. I do really think that, and I don't know how you're feeling about this. Just, let me know. Kind of DM me or something on Insta or on Twitter or somewhere else. I don't give a fuck. Just DM me. It would just be really nice what you're thinking about this. Or comment down below if you're on the YouTube video. But I somehow I really feel like that people are actually meant to not be alone. And I do kind of assume that, because just really in our very, very early days, which is something I totally way too often talk about, I think if we would have been alone, we would have all fucking died. I can't help myself. I kind of think this, and I don't know, maybe I should even just read Homo or Homo Deus. I don't know how you pronounce it in English actually. This very, very, I think, famous book from this great author. Well, this is just a great description, I know. Which is actually kind of the evolution of the human somehow, something. And it is non-fiction as long as I know, or as far as I know. But yeah, never mind. So I kind of feel like that if we would have been alone in just our really early days, we would have all died. Because there were so many predators, and we would have had no fucking chance to actually kind of beat them, to kind of just defend ourselves and whatsoever. So I guess we are somehow meant to be in groups. And I don't know, maybe this is also the reason why we just like to watch other people, which is definitely something, if you kind of keep attention to it a little bit more than you're normally doing, you can definitely see that people really like to watch other people. Like in general, whether it be in terms of vlogs, why would you then just, kind of watch vlogs if you weren't interested in what others do? Somehow. And I think it's the same case with reality TV. Even though this is, most of the time faked, or isn't it? But yeah, and also I guess, if you're in public and you're seeing someone doing something strange, I guess you just have to look at it, and you just have to look what he's doing or she's doing. Maybe I'm wrong, so I'm just really not putting this in kind of, I don't know, I really do not want to say, okay, this is totally right that I'm saying at the moment. I'm just being a little bit philosophical about what I'm thinking, and just spreading what I'm thinking, and what I'm thinking. Never mind. The second one is, but people with difficult childhoods can make up for them in midlife. People who grew up in challenging environments with chaotic families or economic uncertainty, for instance, grew old less happily than those who had more fortunate childhoods. But by the time people reached middle age, defined as ages 50 to 65, those who engaged in what psychologists call generativity, or an interested in establishing and guiding the next generation, were happier and better adjusted than those who didn't. And generativity is not dependent on being a parent. While people can develop it by raising children, they can also exhibit it at work or other situations where they mentor younger adults. Wait a second. Those who had more those who had engaged in what psychologists call generativity, or an interest in establishing and guiding the next generation. I see. Which, well, I don't know. The thing is, I guess, and I don't know if they are putting it this way as well, because my interpretation skills might not be as good, at least in English. But I guess, they're putting it this way that, I kind of assume that if you're working actually with children, whether they're just really small or, I think, I just wanted to say the smaller the better, but I guess it's not actually true. Like, I think if this child is really small, just really fucking small, like, 1 year old, 2 year old, I don't think so if they're making you just happier. I really don't know, but I kind of feel like, if you're just in school and you're a teacher in, what is it actually called? Primary school? I guess it's primary school. I don't know. I assume it is primary school. And I guess if you're working with those just children, they're so energetic. They're so happy no matter what. And I kind of feel like, if you're just constantly being around very happy people, I guess this is making you happy as well. Even though, I don't know, like if there are only upsides of actually working with people, or if there are also downsides, and I don't know how it is weighted, whether there is more downsides or more upsides. I really don't. like I kind of assume that, if you're talking and or just, working with so just happy people and or with I don't know, maybe it's just giving you a purpose as well, because you just somehow kind of teach them something, or I don't know. I do think that, yeah, it kind of just makes sense for me. I don't know. I really don't. So learning how to cope well with stress has a lifelong payoff. We have all developed ways of managing stress and relieving anxiety, and Wolvinger and his team have found that some ways can have greater long-term benefits than others. Among the adaptive coping, yes, coping, or is it coping? Yes, coping. So the adaptive coping methods, they examined our sublimation. Our sublimation. An example would be, you feel unfairly treated by your employer, so you start an organization that helps protect workers. Workers' rights. Altruism. Oh, I see. So there are, so among the adaptive coping methods, they examined our sublimation, which is, if you feel unfair or treated unfairly by your employer, you just start an organization that is against treating workers poorly. Then altruism, you struggle with addiction and help stay sober by being a sponsor for other addicts. Or, do they mean that, you're basically helping others to kind of get sober again? And through this act of helping others, you're actually getting sober yourself? Is this the case? I do think it could actually work. I don't know, I've just seen or just read somewhere that this is actually somehow a good method and someone actually did this. I think it was actually in Tom Bilyeu's Impact Theory, one of his quite recent episodes, which are actually pretty greatly produced. So I deeply love them. They are just extremely great, I'd say, I feel like. And suppression, which is the last one. You're worried about job cuts at your company, but put those worries out of mind until you can do something to plan for the future. Maladaptive coping strategies include denial, acting out, or projection. The Harvard researchers found the subject who dealt with stress by engaging in adaptive methods had better relationships with other people. And the way of copying had a cascade, it's, what I mean, of beneficial effects. It made them easier for others to be with, which people want to help them. So which people want to help them and led to more social support, and that in return predicted healthier aging in their 60s and 70s. Added bonus, people who used adaptive mechanisms in middle age also had brains that stayed sharper long. So again, to go through it as well, or again, adaptive mechanisms. So the adaptive ones were, I'm gonna go through all of them just right now. The sublimation, an example would be, you feel unfairly treated by your employer, so you start an organization that helps protect workers. Altruism, you struggle with addiction and help stay sober by being a sponsor for other addicts. Suppression, you're worried about job cuts at your company, but put those worries out of your mind until you can do something against it for the future, or you can do something to plan for the future. And this was actually it. And maladaptive coping strategies include denial, acting out, or projection. Yeah, those were those kind of things. And the fourth point actually is, so I don't know, to kind of give you a statement of myself, what I think about it. How to cope well with stress has a lifelong payoff. Yeah, which definitely makes sense. I do think that stress is definitely something that is quite, well, in the meantime, it is pretty, I don't want to say overrated. I think it's just treated as it should be treated, But, I don't know. I really don't. I do just believe that some people are just really stressed out. I think because of what they're doing and because of what they are willing to do and what they want to do. And I do somehow feel like that's, just being a little bit, a little bit more honest to yourself about what you can handle and maybe what you can't handle if you can decide. And if you can actually somehow just do this. Some people are very stressed out because they just do not have any other options than doing what they're doing on such a scale, what they're doing right now, or on that they are doing it right now, which means very poor people that do just have to work and work and work to somehow push through the whole family through this whole crisis. They can't decide I'm not gonna just work on this third job because it's really stressing me out. But I do think that a lot of stress is I think, I don't know, I'm not that knowledgeable in the space, but I somehow feel like, okay, if you're really truthful to yourself and if you kind of admit also that you can't handle everything, that it will make a lot of things better, at least better. I don't want to say that's good or something, but I would say better. And I don't know. I really don't. And I also think that perspective plays a big role in the whole stress situation and so on. I'm just really thinking hard about when I am stressed and when I'm stressed and what I'm then thinking about and or what I'm then doing to not be that stressed. I guess when I'm really feeling bad and when I'm really feeling stressed and therefore also unproductive, which is actually something that happens not that often, but maybe it's just a feeling of overwhelmed or being overwhelmed. Well, I think it's the same actually. If it is about being overwhelmed, I do think that just a change in the pattern is just something that can work. If you're working, it might not be that working actually. But if you're working and you're feeling like, okay, it's just really a lot to do. And it's just really like, okay, it's overwhelming me. And it's just really overwhelmingly just making me feel bad. And I do think just, going for a walk, doing something else, but what you're doing at this certain moment can really help. Something that I often do is just actually going outside and doing something, either riding my bike or something else, or actually kind of lay down for a little bit to just clear up things and or drink something and or just do something else. I do think changing up patterns, and I've read it somewhere as well and or heard it from someone as well, it should actually help, as far as I know. But let's see and go through the fourth one. So time with others protects us from the bruises of life's ups and downs. Waldinger has said, it's the quality of our relationships that matters, is one significant takeaway from the study. Well, the researchers have found that quantity counts too. Looking back on their lives, people most often reported their time spent with others as most meaningful and the part of their lives of which they were the proudest. Spending time with other people made study subjects happier on a day-to-day basis, and in particular, time with a partner or spouse seemed to buffer them against the mood dips that come with aging's physical pains and illnesses. Waldinger continues to marvel at the researchers' findings, even though he freely acknowledges how skewed the research group is. It is the most politically incorrect sample you could possibly have. It is all white men. In fact, the group originally included John F. Kennedy, which is just amazing, by the way, with only a handful of the original subjects left to study. The Harvard team is now moving on to the man's 1,300 children who have agreed to participate. Wait. Let me calculate this. It's not that much actually. Well, it really isn't. I do not actually have to calculate it. But, we have seen that it have been 724 men. And it is really it's really a little bad, I guess. They are all white, they are all men. And also I think a lot of them have actually died. So I don't know. It would actually be very interesting how many of those 724 men are actually left. Like 87 years, I think they said, is definitely a lot, you know, and you do just have to monitor their life for, I don't know, like from 0 up to 87, I guess, you know, if you're kind of looking forward to them actually living, I guess. You know, I don't want to say that so many people die so early, but I don't know if how many people are actually getting so old. Even though I think that I just want to get really fucking old. I really want to. And it is also possible, I guess. But yeah, it's just what I was calculating is that they had actually 1,300 fucking children, which means that every one of them, and the problem there is, okay, we don't know how many are actually living. Well, no, it doesn't have to matter, or it doesn't matter actually. So they each had 1.7955801105 children. So quite 2 children. Quite interesting. It seemed to be just really overwhelmingly big, but it isn't, in case. So 1,300 children who have agreed to participate, even though, you know, there might be actually some children that have not agreed, so might be even more. A group that's 51% female, which is incredibly nice because this is very important. But he is painfully aware that the proposed cuts to the National Institute of Health could end even their long-running study. Our kind of research might be one of the first projects to go. Our work is not urgent. It is not the cure for cancer or Alzheimer's, he says, but we have a way of understanding human life that you can't get anywhere else, and it lays the foundation for important, acknowledgeable things. Pretty great one. Pretty fucking great one. And I guess I just have a look at the TED Talk while I'm actually uploading this whole episode. And with that being said, this is actually the end of the episode. I do hope that you've got something out of it. I do hope that you've liked it. And yeah, fucking interesting. Really fucking interesting. But yeah, I wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and success. And I do hope that you're doing fucking well. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're going to be remembered. So basically your legacy, because it is really only in your fucking hands. You decide whether you're going to be remembered as a good person or as a bad person. And I assume you don't want to be remembered as a fucking bad person, you know. At least I don't want to be remembered as a bad person. I'm trying to do as good or as many good things as I possibly can. Sometimes I'm fucking it up completely, that's for sure. But sometimes I'm actually doing it great, I guess. I hope, at least. But with that being said, I thank you very much, and I'll see you the next time. Ciao.